Are you ready to navigate the new way to work? Forbes Books presents Dare to Care in the Workplace with Kathleen Quinn Botaw. Here's Kathleen.
My guest this week is Sean Taylor, a distinguished leader, friend of mine, and trusted advisor in the field of accounting and finance. Welcome to the podcast, Sean.
Thanks, Kathleen. I'm really delighted to be with you today.
We're going to have a great conversation, and I love what Smith & Howard is doing, putting their people first. I've been watching your journey, and it is so important to share how you are making your people who work for you your priority. But before we get there, I really want to hear your story because I think it's so inspiring. You started as an intern. And so few people use interns. They just don't know how to do it. You know, it's a whole nother group of people. So can you start with your journey, beginning with an intern, and tell us your story? And now you're CEO. Tell us, just bring us on a journey this morning.
Yeah, Kathleen, I'd be happy to do that. Actually, my journey even starts before the internship, and it's a nice little tie-in. When I was a kid growing up, 13 years old or so, I had a neighbor that lived a street behind us, and he was a friend of my father's, and he would stop sometimes on the way home from work, and I'm in the driveway shooting baskets in the hoop or whatever, and he would stop and hang out with me and hang out with my dad, and he'd shoot baskets with us, and we just sort of developed a relationship. And I asked my dad one day, I said, what does John do for a living? He said, well, John is a CPA. And I said, well, I think that's what I want to do when I grow up. So I literally took accounting classes in high school and had declared my major before I even started at the University of Georgia in the fall of 1989. And so I started studying accounting right away. Fast forward into 1992, 1993, as I'm finishing up my undergraduate degree in accounting, I'm looking for work. And lo and behold, I come across that same gentleman who was at Smith & Howard, and I interview with them, and he and his team award me an internship. They were already in 1993 using internships as a part of a way to bring students opportunities while at the same time giving them sort of a longer look at any candidate they might bring in. I got the internship opportunity and started in January of 94, and I think I tricked them because they offered me a full-time job in April of 94, and I haven't looked back since. So believe it or not, the investment in people that John and Smith & Howard was making when I was 13 years old ultimately led me to go into accounting and led me to Smith & Howard and led me to where I am today.
I think that's a beautiful story because the more time and energy and effort we put into our children, the next workforce, we can inspire them to do amazing things, even through basketball in the front yard, right?
Absolutely.
And you spend a lot of time with children. You're on a board for education. Why is that so important to you?
Yeah, I do. I've really reinvested in, I think, the youth over the years in a couple of ways. I'm on the board of a private K through 12 school, college preparatory school in Atlanta called the Wesleyan School. My children both went there. They've since graduated from there and are currently attending different colleges. And I am investing in that board. I'm in my fourth year of service on that board. But I've also mentored youth over the years through our church. I had a group of 13 young men. We called it Fit for Life. They were all athletes, and we talked about how they were physically fit, but they also could become fit for life through different aspects of faith development and, just different aspects of maturity that goes into it. We started that when they were in seventh grade, and I met with them weekly until they graduated from high school back in 2020.
And the courage to focus on faith. So many people are losing faith in so much in this world. I love that you focus on faith and family and education and youth. Tell me how important it is to you that faith be a part of your journey and how you can inspire younger people, older people, any people to have a little faith in each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I work really hard to integrate all aspects of my life into what I do every second of every day. People like to talk about work life balance. And what I've told them is I strive for work life faith integration, essentially to
Mhm.
where at any point in time, I'm living my career, I'm living my faith, and I'm living my family in any activity that I do at any point in time that I do it. And so I really think that there's aspects, success at your office, at your career, that come from the application of having a strong family foundation, of having a strong faith. And there's aspects of your faith that are strengthened by what you see happen with your coworkers and what you see happen with your clients in the office environment. So I just think they're all integrated and connected. And to the extent that we try to separate them, saying, well, no, this is the time that I work, or these are the people that I work with, and these are the people that are my family, and these are the people that are my friends, and we bifurcate them and keep them separate. It's very hard to find
Mhm.
true balance with that. But if you integrate it all and really make it the one thing you do, then it's natural. Then it's just a part
Mhm.
of just living and breathing and living every day in any sense. And so I've just always felt strongly that way. I didn't think that way at first, and I had challenges. And once I decided, hey, I'm going to try to integrate all this together, it's been a success. And I try to tell people that if you can integrate, you'll probably have more job satisfaction, you probably have more job success, and you'll certainly have more happiness in your life.
Mhm. Well, it's kind of the choice between a fragmented existence versus a fulfilling existence. Owning who we are and being who we are, whatever that is for you. And I see a lot of people hiding their faith in the business world. They just kind of keep it to the side. They're really quiet about it. What would you say to those people?
Well, I would say to those people, if they're hiding it, they're masking a little bit about who they are. And until people really understand who you are, the entire you, until they feel like you're being transparent and open and honest with them, they're going to be holding something back from you. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's some aspect of their faith, maybe it's some aspect of their belief. And they're probably not going to be as fully engaged and committed to you as they could be because they sense that you're not fully engaged or committed to them. And I would say just be transparent. No one should go through life being something they're not or hiding something about who they are for the benefit of others. If people don't align with who you are, then you will certainly find people who do align with who you are. And that's most likely a place that you can make your long time or permanent career future home.
That's great advice. In my second book, Dare to Care in the Workplace, one of the chapters is Have a Little Faith in Me, but also one of the key points is we as leaders are building community. And in order to do so, we have to show up as 100% of who we are, too. And there was a trend. We're probably the same age. I'm 57, or you're probably younger than me. Of course, everybody is now these days. But we were kind of taught, leave your personal stuff at the door. Whatever your personal stuff is, and never let them see you sweat. Never let them see you cry. Never let them see you not know something. Always have the answers as a leader. But you're saying, this transparency inspires the trust. And one thing you said that was brilliant. If you don't share your full self, they're not going to share with you. So it's a really important point in leadership, Sean.
I totally agree. And I believed this from the start, but it really was magnified and truly the manifestation of its success came to fruition in the first quarter of 2020 when COVID struck. And we went from having one office where everybody came to, we have about 170 employees. And in the first quarter of 2020, we probably had about 130 employees, and we were all coming to the same office in Midtown Atlanta. And in March of 2020, everyone had to go home because of COVID. And there was a
Hmm.
lot of uncertainty in the world. There was a lot of uncertainty with the economy and its impact. I began a process of filming weekly video messages that I sent out to all employees basically saying, I don't have any of the answers any more than you do or any more than anyone else does. But what I do know is we have a system of values that we're going to continue to live by, we're going to continue to manage by, and we're going to continue to execute on. And as long as we stick to our values, and as long as we stick to the things that brought us here, we will be fine. But I'll continue to communicate with you every week. Here's my cell phone number. If you're worried, if you're scared, call me and we can talk about it. And I basically just let my armor down and said, I don't have the answers, but we'll find the answers together. And not only did we survive COVID, we ended up thriving, and coming out of COVID, we really have had a catapult effect that core culture was based on really transparency of going through this together has really led us to just amazing growth in 2021, 2022, and the first half of 2023. And again, I would say it's all based upon we value as people the same things, and we're open and honest with one another, and we have grown through this together.
Yeah, I mean, I had a similar experience, Sean, too, through, when the world shut down in March of 2020. Nobody had a playbook for it. I mean, that never happened prior, in our current world. I think everybody was reeling, and leaders like you and what my team has told me is, my leadership too, in the time of uncertainty, and not trying to be the great answer of all things, because we didn't have the answer to all things. I would take videos too, and I would, I'm an amateur singer, Sean, and
I do know that. Yes.
I would sing them songs because, I didn't know what to say. So I just, hey, here's something to just think about today. God bless you all. And, because we were all a little worried, nobody knew. So I think it busted through some of the myths we've been taught about how to lead. It has made you so strong as a company and a top workplace year after year after year. Tell me about that achievement and how you've come to that as a company.
Yeah, it's something we take a lot of pride in, Kathleen, and it comes, I think, from a place of commitment to our values, one of which is people. People help us grow stronger together, and the investment in our people is a major part of that. Certainly, we have great processes. We have great resources through our human resources team. But really what it boils down to is spending the time with people to help them understand what their career path is, help them understand how they can break down what they are shooting for into bite-sized, achievable goals, and revisit along the way how they're doing on those goals, give good direct feedback, constructive criticism where necessary, recognize employees for their contributions, and essentially reward them handsomely when they contribute to the success of the team or the firm in any way. Mm-hmm. And we just do not stray from that. We will never relax that or rest upon that, because we are a people-based business. Service mm-hmm. is what we provide, and it's all based on trust and chemistry amongst one another. And if in any sense we go from having unity to having artificial harmony, that engine begins to break down. And we know this. So we just spend a great deal of time investing in our people. I want whoever is the CEO after me to do twice as good of a job as I did. And I want the CEO that comes after him or her to do twice as good of a job as they did, because that just means that we're developing the future and we're creating an environment that will be even better for those that come after us.
Yeah. And the corporate core values often are something that people print and hang on a wall or, post on a pretty website, and they don't bring them to life. How do you partner with human resources and the leaders of your firm to bring your corporate values to life? Because it's one of my key points when I speak to audiences, and it's a struggle for most organizations to truly live their values, honor their values, and have them become non-negotiables. So tell us about how you've achieved that.
Kathleen, it's a great question, and it's one of the greatest learnings that I received from Jim Howard, one of the founding partners of Smith and Howard. He undertook to ensure that our values were read before every major meeting we would have. Well, we've taken that to another level to where before any meeting that is had, if it's a departmental meeting, if it's a service team meeting, if it's an industry niche meeting, if it's a full firm meeting, if it's shared services, it doesn't matter. We open up and we read our vision, our mission, our purpose, and our values before every meeting. We rotate around and we go through them all. That starts every meeting with a reminder of what those are, so that as we're going through the agenda for that meeting, we have it front and center of what we're all about. The other thing that we do to really highlight and bring those values to life is we award each year to an individual, based upon a nominations process and a vetting and voting process, an award for each of our values. So there's someone that receives the client value award, someone receives people, someone receives excellence, and someone receives integrity. Those are our 4 values. And we reward them for receiving that award. We put their name on a plaque and we hang it for all to be able to see. So not only do we talk about our values and have them, but we pull them out, we read them, we revisit them, we reward based upon them. And I think that constant pulling them out and refreshing them and reading them and going through them and awarding based upon them has people really believe in and understand, okay, they mean what they say by these values, and they don't just put them on a piece of paper and put them in a file, they live them.
And it's so simple. You read them. Okay, it's, you read them at the beginning of every meeting. I worked with a company early in my entrepreneurial career called Group Publishing, and they publish music and hymnals for churches. So they're a faith-based organization. And they pray before every meeting because they're publishing faith-based stuff. So your what Jim Howard taught you, just read them, reinforce them, a reward based on what you stand for. Why do you think so many companies have such difficulty in bringing them to life when it's really that simple?
I think the simplicity of it maybe leads people to take them for granted or not deprioritize them, but things get busy. You think about the whole complexity of what do we spend most of our day on? We spend most of our day on things that we think are urgent and important. Well, It's very easy for values, while we label them and understand them as important, to not be urgent. We have a lot to cover in this meeting today, Kathleen. So if we decide not to read the values because we need the extra 2 minutes to get through everything, that'll be okay because everyone here knows the values. And before long, you find yourself just not going through that exercise and they lose their importance. So I think what happens is they just are not seen always as urgent. And if you constantly say, no, hold on, it is urgent, it is critically urgent that we read these values before we start, then you won't lose sight of it. And it is easy, but it's also easy to slip into, we all get busy, we all are overloaded. It's hard to find good people, it's hard to do this, it's hard to have the highest quality. We got to get bigger, we got to grow faster, we got to do what we got to do all these things that we take the important and maybe take them a little bit for granted. And before long, they're forgotten.
That is a wonderful recommendation for people who are struggling with how to bring values truly to life in an organization. And I still want to pick your brain, but we have to stop here. Coming up in the second part of my talk with Sean Taylor, the CEO of Smith & Howard Advisory, Sean's going to explain why, as a CEO, he chooses to partner with HR leaders rather than just delegate responsibilities.
But when it comes to the emotional intelligence piece related to our employees, I'm not delegating that. I'm relying upon our team to lead with that and use me and integrate me into the process to where it can have more impact and effect.
This has been Dare to Care in the Workplace. To connect with Kathleen, go to KathleenQuinnBotaw.com. Kathleen's book, Dare to Care, is available wherever books are sold. Dare to Care in the Workplace is a production of Forbes Books.